We'll move on to LA and Vegas next in this TBD category. Go to the LA Kings, and man, have they struggled mightily. They've kind of fallen off a cliff here the last little bit. 1 win in their last 10. That's it for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I don't have much, or excuse me, for the LA Kings, not the Vegas Golden Knights. LA. Vegas is who we're going to talk about next. But LA, 1 win in their last 10. And I don't have a lot to say about this team, man. Like, obviously Trevor Moore has had a fantastic season. Again, sorry, Chad. He's got 20 goals on the year, and the struggles for guys like Dubois and Kaliev really stick out. I just don't think they're getting enough depth in their forward group, and Dubois is a big part of that because of the trade. He's got the big contract. You look at how well Winnipeg is doing, all of it. But, like, did this team peak too soon? Like, is that what happened with the LA Kings? What do you think?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think this team is going to be just fine. I'm sort of surprised that the rest of the league isn't freaking out like you kind of just were about their record, and specifically their last 10, like 1 win in their last 10. I'm sort of surprised that this hasn't gained more traction, but it's just the market, I guess, right? Like, it's, if this was happening in Toronto, which it almost kind of is at this point, the world would be going crazy. But, I'm not overly worried about LA, if I'm being honest. They've got a good team with some underperforming players like Dubois who are going to figure it out. I think they, I listened back, I mentioned to our Pacific Division preview at the start of the year, and we were talking about how impactful Brandt Clarke could be. And, this season, how many games has Brandt Clarke even played? Like 3 games. I'm looking now. He's played 3 games. So I don't know. I think that's a player that maybe deserves a more extended look, like just to change something up. But, Kopitar's had another great season. He's just shy of a point per game. Kempe, same thing. Fiala, same thing. All 3 of those guys are just shy of a point per game. So it's really just the depth scoring. Like you mentioned that Trevor Morris, 20 goals, and Quentin Byfield is actually starting to come around too. So I don't know. I think this is a team that will be fine, and I'm not overly worried about them. And even though this is in the category of to be determined because this race is so close, we did put LA in the 3rd spot in our initial predictions, and they are currently in the 3rd spot in today's standings. So you can consider that bang on if you really want to, but I'm not worried about the Kings. They're a playoff team. They'll figure it out, despite the fact that they're going through a pretty tough skid right now.
They are, absolutely. Look, I obviously am concerned about the Kings right now and maybe overreacting a little bit. Look, at the end of the day, I still think that this team is a playoff team and could be a very tough out once again in the playoffs. So definitely, they will figure this out here in the second half of the season and be able to get in, to kind of stick with our original rankings somewhat. I don't think Edmonton is going to finish first in this division by any means because Vancouver is kind of running away with it. But I do think Edmonton will surpass LA for that 3rd spot, or even jump into 2nd past the Vegas Golden Knights with the way things are going in Vegas as well. And LA is still a playoff team.
If you're the wild card though, man, I don't like, wouldn't you rather play Vancouver than Vegas in the first round? And it's not guaranteed that it would be Vancouver. It could be, whoever's in the Central, number 1. It could be who's Colorado,
Winnipeg, Dallas.
I guess Winnipeg is right now, right?
Winnipeg,
so,
yeah.
So it could be tougher, but man, if I'm picking between Vancouver and Vegas, I'm picking Vancouver every day of the week. Meaning a team I would want to play in the playoffs. Because Vegas, I know there's some recency bias because they're the reigning Cup champs, but they're just built for the playoffs, man. Every player on their team is just big and nasty, and they
Yep.
shut you down defensively. And yeah, so I agree with you. I think Edmonton will probably finish in that 2 spot because we knew they were good. It just took them a while.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, okay, you're going to have to play Vegas. Like, that's not great in the first round for McDavid. You'd probably rather be playing someone else. But anyway, that's just my little spiel.
No, that's a great point. And I think that we really realize now after really the last 3 Cup winners, Tampa, Colorado, and Vegas, that you need a big, long, mobile defense, and Vegas has that. They are certainly built to win the Stanley Cup when they're healthy, though, Chad.
Yes,
and that's a big thing. That is a big issue with the Vegas Golden Knights right now. Jack Eichel is week to week. William Karlsson is out of the lineup. William Carrier, Ben Hutton, Tobias Bjornfoot, who is a waiver claim, like Aiden Hill as well. Like, this is a banged up hockey club right now, man. And so that has obviously contributed to their struggles. 4-6 in their last 10. But they've kind of struggled offensively as well. A guy like Ivan Barbashev, who was a big part of their playoff run and getting them to the Stanley Cup Finals last year and eventually winning against the Florida Panthers, obviously warranted a new contract, and they had to move on from Riley Smith and all that. But Barbashev just hasn't had the same kind of follow-up season with this team. And now Chandler Stevenson becomes your number 1 center, and Stevenson is a good player, but I think you're looking for some more offensive firepower from him as well. And this team has just been banged up, but as soon as they get healthy, I mean, it's pretty much the exact same group from last season. They're only missing 2 guys, and Riley Smith and Phil Kessel. I heard that today. Everyone's back. So if they can get healthy and get things going again, they could certainly take another run at it. That wouldn't be a surprise at all. But Vegas is kind of going through it right now. But as soon as they get healthy again and get things sorted out, I'm not too worried about them.
Yeah, same here, 100%. We knew health is going to be a perpetual issue for this team. I heard that, I think it was Elliot Friedman who was saying that some people are looking at the Jack Eichel injury and getting a little bit worried and hoping that it's not in any way related to, the surgery that he had. But I think he undergo a different surgery for this current injury?
It's a weird one. Like, we don't know what happened, what exactly it is. It's a lower body injury that he had surgery on. So he just had surgery, and he's now considered week to week.
Lower body. But the big surgery that would probably be considered upper body, right?
On the neck, on his neck.
Yeah, so
the ADR surgery, the artificial disc replacement.
Well, I mean, we'll see, right? Like, Jack Eichel is their best player. I think that's fair to say. Their best offensive player anyway. But a guy, Jonathan Marchessault hasn't had the greatest season so far. And, coming off of, he scored, I'm just looking at it now, 13 goals and 25 points in 22 playoff games and, winning the Conn Smythe. Like, you kind of expect more, but I guess it matters in the playoffs more than the regular season, right? So it's not that big of a deal. But then another thing about this team, and you kind of mentioned it when you were talking about the injuries, Aiden Hill's been injured, but man, like the tandem of Hill and Thompson, even though they've both gone through some injury trouble this year, so that's been kind of difficult. It's been really good. Like,
absolutely,
the numbers for both of those guys have been great. And, everybody kind of shit on the Aiden Hill contract, and I was kind of participating in that, saying like, this is a random guy like who's never had consistent experience in the NHL. Why are you paying him this money? But you know what? It's been working. They've kind of figured it out. And as long as one, but ideally, if both of those guys are healthy come playoff time, it's going to be really nice for them. But yeah, we picked Vegas to finish in the 2 spot. They're currently in the 2 spot. So, a lot of hockey left to play here, but not so bad on our predictions. If you actually want to do it that way, based on how it is today versus what we predicted, we actually have 4 out of the 8 teams in the exact position we predicted them. And then if you want to say that Calgary and Seattle are tied for 6th instead of 5th, then that's 5 out of 8 because they both have 47 and 44.
We'll take it, baby.